All right. Welcome, everybody. Hold on, gotta turn this off. I lost my iTunes. And so many screens open right now. Welcome, everybody, to orientation, and congratulations on being admitted or accepted, or so far accepted as a fellow or associate to ARCS, the Autonomy Research Center for STEAM. So you've seen me in emails, or you've read my emails, and you've read Sarah's emails, and I'm sure you've seen Dr. Newt Ho's name as well. But today we kind of want to just invite everybody at the beginning of the year to have a formal gathering. We wanted this to be in person, but for obvious reasons, we have to have it remotely, and we're sort of used to this now, but in a sad way. The hope is that we should definitely get together in the spring. We'll see your faces in person very soon in February and March, and throughout the whole year during your time as a fellow or an associate here. So welcome, congratulations, and we will get started. So my name is Professor Joe Bautista. I am a faculty in art and design. I'm also the Associate Director of ARCS, along with Dr. Newt Ho, who will introduce himself in a second, and Sarah, where I lost the screen with everybody on it. There you all are. We're going to cover some details today, and we want you to be able to ask any questions if you have any questions, so please throw them in the chat, and don't be afraid to every now and then interrupt with the microphone. And it'd be great to see your faces, so if you want to turn on your camera, don't be shy either. This is a Convergence Research Center. So the whole point is for us to converge and meet one another and work with each other on these projects throughout the coming semesters and through the years. So don't be shy, get very familiar with people's faces. Again, if you can't turn it on, I can't force you to, but it is nice, especially when I teach a class or whenever I'm in a room, to see people's faces. It's always a nice thing to have. So you could all see the ARCS Fellow orientation slide. Yes, before I continue, just want to make sure that's visible. So I hope you're all excited about this. And I know we asked you to come in an hour early before the actual event, just to go over some details and paperwork. And we're recording all of this, so if there's anything that's missed, you can go ahead and we'll find we'll post it on our YouTube channel. And then we'll have plenty of time at the end of this to ask a bunch of questions. So we don't plan to go the whole hour. Hopefully we'll be able to take a break before we hit the 4 o'clock event. All right. So what is ARCS? ARCS is the Autonomy Research Center for STEAM. It was written and conceived in 2018. Actually, Newt, why don't you talk about this? Why don't you, Newt is our director, and this has been an idea of his for probably a decade, but it didn't really come to life until about 2018, 2019. So Newt, why don't we introduce yourself and then tell us a little bit about ARCS and the vision you had for it.
Thank you, Joe. I'm Newt Ho. I'm a professor in the mechanical engineering department. And it's just a exciting time, and I guess somewhat emotional time to see all of you today. I was really looking forward to meet you in person, but it's not happening. So we're just going to meet each other through the screen. But I was hoping to shake each of you, shake your hand, and yeah, just to give you a warm welcome to the ARCS family. Supposedly, once you are a family member, you'd be a family member forever. so in that spirit, yeah, you are the start of the day, and like Joe said, we congratulate you for being selected to be a fellow. I think it's just an amazing opportunity, but I think it's also a reflection of all the great hard work that you put in your education to be a part of our center. And just briefly, a little bit about me. I grew up in the area, went to high school locally here, took a lot of classes at CSUN when I was in high school, also in college. Did my undergraduate at USC and got my master and PhD at MIT. I came back to CSUN 16 years ago, so I've been here for a decade and a half. So Joe said there's things that we take that long to work on, but I guess hopefully I can live on several more decades of keep on working with students and professors. And really one of the big joys in my life is to be able to bring students from many different disciplines and get them to work together. And we have had many, many successes with that. And arts is basically an effort of many faculty members, including Joe and your advisor, the professor who oversee your work, working with us and a number of NASA partners to address, I think, several big challenges in our country. The first one is definitely about getting more students from all backgrounds, especially underserved, underrepresented students, to get into STEM-related, NASA-related workforce. So you're going to see a lot of success story. For example, we have a student from the art department who contribute to the interface design of a human swarm satellite system for NASA. And that's kind of not the traditional things that art students do, but that's where we make it happen here at Arts. The second area that we focus on is definitely built up institutional capacity. And this is where it's really great to be arts, where you see you have so many 20 plus professors and probably 30, 40 NASA scientists from all kind of different disciplines that you can work with. You have a great community of people to be with. And definitely the last thing is, one of the most exciting thing is definitely doing autonomy related research with NASA. And this is a great experience where you could team up with a very senior internationally known expert at NASA to mentor you, to mentor your project and your team members. And that's what we do. We support NASA across many, many autonomy projects. And it's always been, a phenomenal experience for not only our student, but also I think the NASA collaborators. Joe, can you go back to the slide? Yeah, so you notice, you may have heard about STEM, STEAHM. You see here that we included 2 additional letters, A for arts and H for humanities, as a commitment to be inclusive, to incorporate a transdisciplinary focus and perspective in what we do. Joe, the next chart. So I talk about these 3 things here, what we do. Next chart, please, Joe. Yeah, so you're going to hear a lot about conversion research. Specifically today, I'm going to tell you that we hope to train you to be a convergence research leader. And this is what we hear from a lot of employers, a lot of graduate school. They basically saying, hey, yeah, can you actually train your student to just not be able to do the job, but also take leadership role, especially in this area called convergent research. And it's basically one of the big ideas that the National Foundation is focusing on right now. And the kind of problem that the kind of characteristic that they focus on are the research that's driven by really specific and compelling problem. And it requires deep, deep integration across many different disciplines. That's what convergent research is, because one single discipline cannot solve a big complex problem. We need perspective, we need expertise, we need model, we need people, personnel from a lot of different different disciplines to solve these complex problems. Next, Joe.
We're going to skip this one because we'll skip this because we'll introduce the staff in the next meeting.
Okay, we'll introduce that next. Is that right, Joe?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is our website here. All the mentors information, NASA scientists and collaborators are all on our website. Also, the different research area that we have. Next one, Joe.
Sorry.
So, what is being an arts fellow means? Oftentimes when I talk to students, I typically tell them, I tend not to really think about what background or the place that you start, but I really worry a lot about what is it that you're gonna grow, mature, become when you finish with our program. And so that is, we accept you for where you are currently right now, and we use that as a starting point to produce the larger delta, the larger difference in helping you become a leader. So a lot of that is, committed to what we believe as a visions for our center, the kind of excellence that we bring to the work that we do, and you're going to see that through the way your professor conduct their work, to the way the NASA people conduct their work. You're also going to see the level of collaboration, interdisciplinary, and those are the things that are really dear and important to our heart. And really, at the end of the day, at the end of your program, be able to articulate what is convergent research, right? Because you're going to be one of those leaders. Next one, Joe. So with this leadership, you see here, we use a lot of word lead because we really want you to become a leader. So what are the roles and responsibilities? Well, we definitely love you to be able to lead seminar and symposium to talk about your research project. We're going to work with you and your advisor to help you actively look for internship, and we got a lot of internship NASA experiences. We'd love for you to be the lead author of your publication of this project that you're working on, and going to a conference and so on to present it. And we love to have you invite other great scientists at NASA to work with you to be co-authors on this, and be a present, right, that represent our center and the work that you do inside and outside CSUN. And we also have a number of community outreach services that really close and dear to my heart, and that's something I like to have the fellows to do. Next chart, Joe. Yeah, so there's a number of internship that being offered right now. So, NASA have this 10-week paid internship, and Joe, maybe can you talk about an internship program, Joe?
Absolutely. So the plan, while you're doing all this research here at ARCS, the hope is that it'll spark an opportunity for you to also do an internship or affiliateship at NASA or JPL, in addition to your research that you're doing here, or maybe once you finish your research here, you'll apply to an internship. In fact, a few of you already had an internship at NASA and JPL, and then that became your stepping stone to being here at ARCS. So the whole point of this is, for as often as you can, and Sarah will talk about this later, is to get your name into the system, right? And then apply for internships. I just got an email today from the director of internships, or one of the connections that we have at internships, and applications are open for summer internships. So this is where I'm gonna bug you from now until March 1st to apply, right? You may think NASA doesn't want an anthropology student, or NASA doesn't want a graphic design student, or NASA doesn't want a marketing student or a writer. Absolutely. NASA, for as many engineers as they need to help them, and computer science and astrophysicists, they need others that are there that just want to do science communication, or marketing and PR, or software development, or human and behavioral science studies. So the goal here, one of the overarching goals, and why we exist, why ARCS exists, and why we're even funded as a center, is to get you to engage with NASA as a potential researcher, employee, intern, affiliate, and we're a connection point to that. So as much as you're going to be heavily involved in your research project, the hope is that in the back of your mind, at least try to apply to a NASA program so you can get involved. And I know some of you, that's probably one of the main exciting things, right, of being part of this, is the opportunity to potentially work for NASA. So yes, most of the internships are funded. Most of the internships are 10 to 12 weeks, and it'll just be a pause, or a pause in your research while you're here. But the other component of that too is it happens, but not too often, is that your research project is tied to a NASA project, and you can get an internship as well. So it's like the trifecta, right? Your research you happen to be doing with your faculty member is also tied to a NASA project. They'll bring you on board, And then you could do the internship there too and continue your study based off of what you've explored. And that's how one of our students, our success stories, which we'll talk later, Sarkis, his research turned into an internship, turned into a job. All of that happened to be with NASA, and all of it was on regarding the same topic and process. So ultimately, we want to make sure that you're thinking about applying to an opportunity as an intern at NASA. And I'll go on to the success stories here too. So in fact, here are some of our students that have recently graduated, and we've many more. We've close to probably 80 to 160 ARC students now at this point. Now that we're ending our year 2, you're the year 3 students. So just as FYI, you are the third cohort to go through this. But we've had students that now work at JPL Raytheon. Sarkis, the individual I was just talking about, he's a computer science major, now works at NASA Flight as a flight software engineer. Anessa, who's a journalism student, she worked with my team, and now she's a PR specialist at the Wonderful Company. Andila, who's a designer in the marketing area of ARCS, and she's now at an organization called Marketing Maven. Michael Baumgarten is an ASU anthropology PhD program. Helena is at Johns Hopkins epidemiology MS program, and Fadhil, who was one of our first postdocs, is now accepted to the Stanford Aeronautics and Astronautics PhD program. So we want to make sure that we're collecting these success stories, and all of you will be a future success story as well. So consider ARCS as a stepping stone to whatever it is that you want to do that's related to the research that you're doing here. All right. Any other questions on that or thoughts? Newt?
Yeah, so you want me to talk about this chart, Joe?
Sure.
Yeah, part of it is think about, okay, if we develop this program to help you become a leader and seriously to become somebody who could articulate the research, who can tell your research story to NASA, to the public, then it's really important that you have to have appropriate level of engagement and the kind of support that we have for you. So typically for fellow, you work with your advisor. If you're a graduate student, I think oftentimes it's in the form of a thesis project. We also have a number of students who sign up to be associate volunteers. So in some sense, when you lead your project, you lead in a group of associates. So these could be volunteer students. These could be students from a senior design course, 400 level courses who work under your supervision. And we also have, equipment from the DoD, for example, to help support research. We have computing space in our center that we have, that Joe can talk about, that will be open for you. There'll be travel expenses for you to go and publish your work, and also PR marketing to promote your research as well. On campus, we also have a seasoned incubator run by the College of Business. And Joe recently ran the $30,000 Make Anything Matador competition for students to join. So there's a lot of opportunity to take your research to the next level as well. And for each student, basically, you have a full-time faculty coordinator providing project management support. So in our center, we have Sarah. She's kind of like the point of contact for administrative support. So you've been getting email from her about your acceptance. She's going to be the person who's making payments for you, help set up the schedule for you to give talks. And those are amazing things that Sarah's doing to provide the admin support to support all the research activities that you're going to be involved with. Joe?
Perfect segue for Sarah. This is a time for her to go over. So first, want to introduce Sarah Huang. Say hello, Sarah. Your camera on. I have this different view. There you are.
Yeah.
You want to take over, right?
Yes. Is it okay for me to? Yes.
Yeah. So I want to introduce Sarah. She's the person holding it down. So me and Newt, we're just running around, but Sarah's the one who you're going to talk to. Anything related to operations and administrative stuff. We appreciate what Sarah does here because she'll be the point person on anything administration related.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Sarah Huang, and I am the project coordinator here at ARCS. I also have a fear of public speaking, so please bear with me as I go through these slides. So I just wanted to give a little bit of background information about myself. I actually started off as an ARCS associate myself. I was actually able to work with some incredible NASA and JPL scientists. I was able to publish my findings, and it was mainly geared towards studying Mars autonomous systems. So after this experience, I was able to leverage this and become the project coordinator here at ARCS. So to give a quick overview of some of my responsibilities, I am in charge of administrative and accounting support. So sending out stipend payments, equipment purchases, anything of that sort. I'm also in charge of file and database management, student onboarding, facilities management, so our ARCS headquarters and our lab space. And I'm also in charge of coordinating all of our events and our activities. So everyone should have received an email titled ARCS 2022 Onboarding Part 1. This email asked all of our fellows to read through and sign these 5 documents, and it asked our associates to read through and sign these 3 documents. Within the same email, I included a link that sends you to this student fellow intern onboarding form. This is how it looked for the fellows. This is how it looked for the associates. And for those who have not yet completed this step, all you need to do is take all your signed documents and attach it to this form. Once you submit it, I can then send you ARCS 2022 Onboarding Part 2. I did check this morning. I sent out about 40 of these emails. There's around 10 or so of you who are still slacking on the Part 1. I hope to hear from you guys soon. But once you guys are able to get onto Part 2, what you'll see is a link to this ARCS 2022 pre-engagement survey. So all you need to do is read through it, answer it as best as you can. And for the associates, this will actually be your last step. Once you submit the survey, all of your onboarding is completed. For the fellows, however, this is actually going to be step 2 of 3. So once you complete this, I will then send you ARCS 2022 Onboarding Part 3. And that's going to include a link to this website, which requires you to sign up and create an account for yourself. Once that's completed, you take a screenshot, send that back to me, and your onboarding process is complete. That's all I had to share. Back to you, Joe.
I think I skipped 2 slides that are pretty important. I was clicking too fast. So this just shows sort of an organizational structure of your time and what you're doing here. And I know this kind of helps to give you a better sense of how our model works. So faculty are always going to be your #1 point person, meaning you've been selected as a fellow or an associate to work under a faculty member. That's always the first person you're going to speak with and work with, so that way you can continue the research project with them. So we have undergrad fellows and we have graduate fellows, and then we don't have any postdocs, but we will. So you're in the middle there. That's your core. So you're working with ARCS faculty constantly. You're going to then also collaborate with NASA, JPL, and other industry partners. These are what we usually call our collaborators. So these are NASA, JPL scientists or Medtronic scientists or waste management individual scientists too. So you'll be working through ARCS faculty to communicate and do things with them as part of your research. While this is all happening, we want to make sure that our team, my team, the communication team, is in constant contact so that we can create events, help you publish news about your work, and then throughout your time here, you'll get nudged every now and then to do presentations for some of our guests. We'll ask you to at least 3 times this already in these first few months. You're going to have to present some sort of presentation to NASA reviewers. We'll talk about those dates soon. And then in between all that, we have fun events where we want to gather and get together and have some corporate connect events as well. So just know that this is an important diagram to kind of see your role here and everybody you're working with. And then
Joe, sorry, can I make a quick point about that, Joe?
Yes,
I think
please.
this chart, yeah. Yeah, so I think just like Joe said, I just want to emphasize it a little bit more. You can see yourself, right? You see when you have art student fellow, you are like the center of the universe and everybody kind of revolve around you, right? So you see on top, you work with your advisor, you have on the left here, you have industries or NASA collaborators or government agency that you work with. And on the bottom, it's really the team that you're going to be leading. Those teams were made up of students from community colleges. They volunteer their time to be a part of your project. They can be from a scene design course. They can just be volunteer students. So that's the way we structure the leadership model. You are leading because you're in charge of a project. You are making it happen with the help of all the personnel around you. So I think it's, if anything, it's going to be one of the biggest projects in your life because now you have to not only manage the technical work, but also manage all the stakeholder, the personnel that work with you as well. That's what makes it really a special experience to be a convergent research leader. Please go ahead, Joe. Yeah, we were missing this chart.
Yeah, I clicked through it too fast.
Okay.
And then, so your projects will be listed on the research page if they're not listed there already. And then your mentors are listed on the faculty page, which you'll see that as well. And then other CSUN faculty will also mentor you, like myself and Dr. Ho and Dr. Lee, but your core faculty member is your main mentor. And then you're going to collaborate and work with other NASA scientists and researchers, like we said, and other industry and government organizations to continue and further progress your research. All right. So we talked about expectations. Sarah did her introduction. Okay, so here for the fellows and associates, these are some important key dates and important things we want to make sure that you remember. The first big date is February 10th. Well, the first big date is today at 4 o'clock, where we're going to have you meet the rest of the last year's fellows and associates. But at February 10th, we have an event with Autodesk. We're going to do a corporate connect. So these are one of those many events that we put together. I'll blast out information soon about this, right? So Autodesk is putting together a corporate connect. It's an opportunity for you to learn about Autodesk and potentially have a career at Autodesk. We'll give you hard dates on this, but by the end of February, mid to late February, you should have completed your research work plan. The research work plan is absolutely necessary to give to us and Dr. Lee so that we can plan the whole year out, or we know what your research is going to be the whole year. And then at some point, you're going to have to meet and present this research plan to NASA and JPL contacts, right? And so this is a very fun event, and hopefully by March, we'll get to go to NASA and JPL and visit, right? So the fellows and some associates might get an opportunity to, or fellows definitely will get an opportunity to present and speak to NASA and JPL scientists. Approximately mid to late March, then we'll have the full statement of work to Dr. Lee. So we know exactly what your plan is for the whole year. And again, you're working with your faculty member on this. It's not like you have to make this up. Your faculty member should definitely, your faculty mentor should definitely give you an idea of all of this. We have a major event on April 7th. So this is the next hard date. I want you all to block out April 7th, probably between 3 and 6 p.m. for now. Let's just block that out. If you have class, try to get out of it. It's a pretty important date, but we're going to have a major presentation to NASA researchers. They're coming in, they're flying in, and they're the Miro, which is the agency that is helping us build ARCs. And so they want to see your work. So it's a poster presentation. So you're going to design a poster and you'll stand in front of your poster and you'll explain what your research is to these NASA affiliates. And it's an open event. So it's not just NASA people that will be there. It'll be friends, family, other faculty. The whole community is invited to this poster presentation, calling it our lift, right? So April 7th, that's a big day. And then throughout the year, you'll have to present about your project. So we're going to have what we call biweekly seminars. And so every 2 weeks, we meet on a TBD. We normally have them on Fridays, but they may change. But we normally have them on Fridays. And then they were in Zoom for the past year and a half. Hopefully we'll have a hybrid model this year where it'll be live as well as via Zoom. And you present and do a talk about your research to all the other fellows and associates so that we all learn about what you're doing. And so that's required. You have to present at a biweekly seminar, I believe 2 times during the year, just to give status updates of what you're researching and what you're researching and what you're doing. All right. And everybody needs to attend this event every 2 weeks. All right. And then at the end of the year, we have a big symposium again, where we present the final presentation in a short demonstration or presentation of your research that you've done throughout the year. So you're getting a lot of opportunity to talk about your work. And as you talk about your work and talk about your research, the better you'll be able to write about it and present it. And it's just sort of advancing you as a researcher or a collaborator on these projects, because you're going to have to be an expert at what you're doing. And this gives you a chance to just speak and talk about this many, many times. By the end of the year, you will be an expert at presenting your research. And in fact, some of you who were associates last year and are now fellows this year are very used to this concept. Any questions on these dates? I know we just dropped this all on you right now, but there will be many dates in between here, again, where we will just call you out of the blue and say, hey, oh, my speaker died. Hey, David, we need you to present on this next week. Or hey, you know, Sarah, Alejandro, we're going to need you to present this following week. So know that every now and then throughout the year, we may tap you and say, we need you to present to the chancellor of the entire CSU, or we need you to present to the president of the campus. So and these require, good question, Melissa. These requirements apply to fellows, but then because associates support the fellows, yes, we expect you to hopefully be there too to support the research also. The goal is, if you're an associate the following year, if you're still around, to take over the project or continue the project and be the ongoing fellow, right? That's the hope. Any other questions?
So
While I troubleshoot my speaker.
For those of us that have been here for a while.
Yeah, I can't hear anybody. So somebody take over, or Newt, or somebody take over.
No, I think it's Elliot. Elliot, just go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I was just asking. So for those of us that have been here for a little bit, this is the same standard like Friday meeting that we've had set with our advisor and our teams, or is this going to be an additional meeting that we'll be adding for this semester? I assume this is just the same Friday meeting we're used to, right?
Elliot, I think, let me answer your question.
Okay.
Sorry to join late, Newt and Jill, because I just met with my students on the weekly meeting.
Yeah.
I think met with 7 of them. Jill, can you also update the slides? I just put the exact date for these deadlines for complete research work plan. Now, if you refresh your presentation, yeah, that will show up. And Elliot, to answer your question, I think that would be additional date, but especially for the Autodesk Cooperate to Connect, that will be another event on February 10th. You need to add to your calendar. And then the present research poster at the lift off, the April 7th, you also need to mark on your calendar.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then,
of course.
Besides that, I think the complete research work plan, the meet and present the research plan to NASA POC, and also send a statement of work to me. That's all the deadlines. There's no meeting scheduled on that specific date. That's just due date.
Yeah, okay, okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Melissa Chow, did your question get answered? I kind of answered it earlier, but yes, we would like associates to definitely come to as many seminars as you can and assist in the presentation of the research. But the fellow should be the guiding lead, and then the associates will assist or more, right? It's a team effort. Other responsibilities include hopefully publishing. So you saw Sarah's publication earlier. That for the researchers, that's a major goal for us. That's a major benchmark for us, is to publish every year and get as many of you and create a culture of presenting and publishing and going out there and doing all those things, right? So please, please, please remember that this research is not, it's significant, but it's not as significant until it is published and peer reviewed or presented, right? So we'll talk about this constantly throughout the year, is a path to publishing. And then just some communication guidelines is etiquette. A lot of you we're going to use email and Slack. There's a community Slack for this. I will send a link in the chat right now for you to access the community Slack. You guys can create your own Discord or whatever, but this is the one just for everyone to chime in, and I'll post often events and things in there. So please join the community Slack, but your own individual projects and your own work with your faculty on your project, you can choose whatever communication methods. This is just for the group. But just make sure that when you contact any NASA representative, anybody from NASA, that you get the okay first from your faculty member or from myself or Newt or one of the directors. You don't want to just be sending random emails and bothering these NASA representatives. Make sure that it is related to the project, or make sure that you have that type of relationship with them where you can contact them on a regular basis. But make sure to establish that first. And some of the NASA collaborators become very close, form a very close mentorship relationship with a lot of our students. So you can get to that point. But early on, just get approval from your faculty member, get approval from the directors, get approval from certain individuals if you're trying to reach out to anybody at NASA. Any questions on that? And when I say NASA, it also means JPL and Medtronic and the other companies and organizations that you're doing research with, not just NASA. Okay, so I'm going to throw in the chat, and I'll make sure Sarah emails it again to you all, the Slack organization for ARCS as a whole. So that's where a lot of quick announcements and posts will be sent. We'll try to email you as well. And that's that. Okay. There are some security issues unique to NASA. We'll be talking about that, or you may already know about that as you were signing up to be a fellow. And then when we do visit NASA and JPL, just know that there are security measures in place. So there will be a lot of forms and things that you have to sign if and when we visit NASA or JPL. Okay, so know that we will be asking a lot of individual questions when we get to that point. So let's hear from you, because we're 40 minutes into this. And do you have questions? What do you hope to experience? Some of you may be completely unaware of all this and just applied and now you're in it. But any sort of idea of the type of interdisciplinary work you hope to achieve, any type of research that you know about, anything you want to just add or introduce and say something to the team or to the group here? Now is the time.
Joe, thank you. Let me chime in to answer Melissa. Yeah, I noticed Melissa's question in the chat. From our point of view, I think ARC is the whole. You know, we have the same expectation from the fellow and the associate. I believe the associate position is just a temporary. You know, because every cohort right now we have the limit of the budget. But I just want to let you know, our ARC is expanding. We're working on 2 large initiatives. Like one is the STEAM bubble, another one is iCrop. We're growing pretty fast. So I can share one experience. Like there's one associate working under my group for 3D bioprinting. He was accepted as associate, but he's not engaged, like only showed up twice and then disappeared. So last year we end up, getting a lot of grants from ASF, from Autodesk, Lineage Logistics, from DOE. So I hired other students, right, to become the fellow. So there are a lot of opportunities there. So I hope you understand, like, the associate is just your regular, the temporary position. You can just better, engage with the team member and the faculty advisor. I think we will try our best, to provide a stipend and the fellowship to you through different, the agency, not just NASA, also from other federal agency and the industry partner. Thank you.
Any other questions or thoughts or ideas? I know this is overwhelming and all of you might be a little shy, but what are you hoping to get out of this? Or
Joe, I believe we have a question from Paula in the chat.
sure.
She's asking, if we have an idea for a wholly new research project, is it possible to start one under ARCS from scratch?
Are you working under a forgive me because I don't have the list in front of me, but are you working as a fellow or an associate, and which faculty member?
Currently, I was just accepted as a fellow, and I'm working with Dr. Bing Bing Lee on 2 projects so far. So I have experience working with him under those 2 projects, but I was just wondering if, say, for example, we had an idea for a separate project, something that, we came up with, would it be possible to, say, start that seed process going under ARCS?
Do you want to answer that one, Newt or
Yeah,
Dr.
thank
Lee?
you. Thank you, Paula. The fact that you already started to and you want to do more, it makes me feel like, yeah, that's so awesome. Yeah, Paula, the answer is yes, and I think the main thing is let us know and how we can help, right? To, for example, get other students joining that project, or to get other professors to provide the necessary expertise. And a lot of it, Paula, as you may know, when you have an idea, the burden, the onus is on you to try to make it exciting for people, right? Why they should come enjoy Paula next great idea, right? So I think that's a really important part of being able to pitch research project, get enough interest. And then there's also the big question, do we need funding, resources? How are we going to do this? Can we put this inside a classroom project? Yeah, so the answer is generally yes. And I think that student project that start by the students, and if they get enough support and enough feedback that make it a tangible project and they can pursue it one way or another, I think that's always great.
Yeah, I wanted to add to that is yes. Like, I know that currently there's an existing project, but if you want, this is your research year now, so you get to shape and steer and pivot the project as you see fit, just as long as your faculty is okay with it, and there wasn't already something established that you had to complete, and then that we have the support from whoever the NASA or JPL collaborator is. And for the associate students, and for anybody who plans to continue and say, let's say you want to get your master's degree next year, by all means, if you want to come back and think of if a research project comes from stuff you're doing now and turns and morphs into something else, yes, there's not that much set in stone here. The whole point is to support you and your research goals.
Yeah, to
What
chime
else?
in, Paula.
Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. This is a really great, the question, Paula. And by the way, Paula did an excellent job, on these 2 research projects, on Lineage Logistics project and also Autodesk JPL. I think to answer this question, yeah, I think ARCS have the mechanism to promote innovation and entrepreneurship. I think we're working with a lot of companies as well, and also we have CSUN on campus. They have a I-Corp, right? And then we have one advisor's team. He's in charge of the I-Corp site at CSUN. So yeah, definitely we all the ARCS, the leadership and also the faculty members, yeah, we're more than happy to support you. And if you have some really good idea, and then to keep working on that, yeah, we will utilize our resources, right, to connect you to other resources on campus and off campus, including NASA centers and other federal agency and also the industry partners. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, Paula, we had that $30,000 Autodesk competition, and we were trying so hard to ask, Joe was trying so hard to ask students to participate.
Yeah.
And it was a phenomenal challenge because we operated virtually, but it was an amazing opportunity and we couldn't find enough students.
Yeah, even doing classes for it and everything, we just couldn't get people to show up. It was really unfortunate.
So the answer is yes to that. And then Paulo Essa, for associates, what is the potential we can reach through ARCS? It's your last semester. I think that's where you kind of have to be proactive. There's a lot going on here and you just kind of have to elbow your way in, right? For example, if you're an associate and you find you want to take more of a leadership role, just talk to your faculty member and see if, you know, the title is a fellowship associate. The biggest difference is the fellow is getting paid. But if they find value in what you're doing, and I don't want to say this, Newt or Bing Bing, but if we find value in what you're doing and we find that you're driving this project, I don't see, and if there's a valid reasoning and a discussion, I don't see why we can't support that in some way, right? Like if you find that you're doing more work than the fellow that's in charge, then there needs to be a discussion that needs to happen. And then, you know, there might be an opportunity for you to then be funded. But I think those are those situations and instances where you have to talk to your faculty advisor for. But at the same time, that being said, if you're an associate for Project B, we have projects popping up every other month here. So like Dr. Lee said, we're expanding constantly. So you may be an associate for Project B, but then Project D may come in and say, this is interesting. Now you're going to be a fellow on this project now. And the faculty may say, okay, you're cool. We don't need your help on Project B, but now we have this new Project D. Let's get you involved on that and we could fund you and support you. So it's just a matter of timing and making sure that you're letting us know you're available.
Yeah, Joe, could I piggyback off of that actually? Because I feel like this is actually what happened to me. I was invited onto a project as an associate just to help out, but I became very invested and started putting in a lot of work. And then because of my experiences, I ended up publishing a paper. And so it really does depend on how much work you want to contribute and how much you're bringing this up to your advisor that you want more opportunities.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of good examples. I think Elliot also shared his story, and then like Paula, they all started as associate, and then eventually I just provide them fellowship positions through different grants. So there's another quick question from Paulo. For associate, what's the potential we can reach through ARCS? For me personally, this will be my last semester at CSUN, so I was wondering.
That's the one
yeah.
Bing Bing. That's the one I just answered.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anybody else? We have 8 minutes left. We had an exercise, but I feel like it's better to kind of answer these questions first. Anything else you have questions about? We need to hear from you.
Can we talk about the STEAM bubble?
We're going to talk about that at 4 o'clock.
Okay, never mind then.
Let me just share these final screens then while you all think of a question. So ARC's goals with this fellowship and associateship should be that you're leading a convergence research project. You're going to lead seminars and talks and presentations. You're going to lead community service activities where we have you present and just work with ARCs. And then work with partners like the Center for Innovation and Incubator and Fast Pitch and the Bull Ring to try to make your research potential for commercial application for your research. We want you to publish and write as much as you can, and hopefully that's the plan is to publish, that your ultimate goal is to create some sort of publication and write research journal articles and conference papers. And then hopefully your idea or your research can create a pathway to a grant or proposal to further expand upon it. And then obviously work with your cohort to continue your research, but also hopefully create a cohort of with other students from other colleges to imply this convergence research concept. All right. So I'll quickly answer these final questions here. Are there any plans? Yes, 100%. We want to use our space. So we're currently based in the Reseda Annex, but the plan is, and Sarah will talk about this, maybe not now, but the crop space, the iCrop space that we have there is for you. So you could book that space and you could plan to meet there and meet with your team there as soon as we open up again. And then there's obviously restrictions to how many people can be in there and wearing masks and so forth and so on. But yes, the plan is to have meetings on campus soon. Are the trips to NASA available for associates? Yes. So although the fellow is the lead on it, if there's an opportunity for associates to attend or present or be involved, yes, 100%. We want to bring fellows and associates to NASA. How do you sign up for biweekly seminars? Coming soon, because we haven't picked the date yet. So once we get the dates going, then there's a sign up process. You get to pick which week you want to present, and then that'll happen very soon. And Melissa, in addition to that, can we go back to the slide about mandatory meetings? I have a rotating schedule. Okay, yes, I can do that. But we will definitely send out the schedule and post it in Slack and so forth and so on. But here are the hard dates that you could all take a screen grab of. Any final questions before we end this and let everybody else in for the 4 o'clock event? Just like anything, any orientation, any start, it could be very overwhelming, but my hope is that you're all very excited to be a part of this organization and know that we've got big things coming, and know that your faculty, although they're not here, well, they couldn't be here, they're going to hopefully be at the 4 o'clock event. Know that your faculty are supporting you, and they'll be able to answer any of the questions related to your specific research. Okay. All right. If you've got questions, go ahead and ask them, throw them in the chat, and we'll just hang out here and let everybody else come into the meeting. I'll stop sharing screens and we'll stop. Are you recording, Sarah? You
Yes.
were, right?
Yes.
So then I'll record the next one. That way you can record both, and then we'll just chop them in half. That way we have this separate from the other one.
Okay.
And then, but I'll record starting at 4 o'clock as well.
Okay.
So that way we have
okay.
2
Then
copies of.
I will also stop here just so the video will be cut.
Okay.